In this video, I'm going to teach you my complete order flow plus gamma GEX levels plus volume profile trading strategy. Now, by reading this, you may think that this is going to be very complicated, but I promise you, as you know me, I'm going to explain each and everything so even like a 9 years old kid can understand this strategy. I promise you, I'm not going to go over into like extra definitions or information that is not like important. All right, I'm going to give you a straight path that you can follow, and I promise you this strategy is going to change your life forever. This is where we really dive deep into the market and how it actually moves and what makes it move, right? So here are the components that we're going to go over to form our trading strategy. So first of all, we're going to look at the gamma regime for our bias. If we're going to know if we're going to be trending or chopping on that specific day. And then we're going to have gamma GEX levels as our key levels. Then we're going to have the overnight volume profile as our context. And then we're going to have order flow for entry confirmation. So let's talk about what exactly is gamma regime, or what is it, right? So I use this platform called Mentor Q. The link is down in the description. You can get around 25%, 20% off if you use my link. But, it's a very helpful tool. And this is where we're going to know our levels. And they basically have the integration, so you can integrate it with TradingView. And it's going to plot the gamma GEX levels automatically on your chart. But first thing first, we're going to need to talk about the gamma condition. So when you have the platform, you're going to go to the futures tab here, right? And then you're going to go over here and choose NQ. Now, it is kind of like a daily bias. So it's going to look at the previous day instead of the current day if you're looking at end of day, right? So we have end of day and intraday. I'm going to go over end of day first. So it's looking at 18th. So if you are trading 19th, it's going to look at 18th gamma condition or gamma regime. So we have two type of conditions. We have a positive condition and we have a negative condition. Let's talk about the positive condition. If it shows that we are in a positive condition, the price is basically going to be in a balance. So what that means is that it's going to consolidate, it's going to be a little choppy, it's going to be stable, right? So these type of conditions are best for failed auction setups. If you haven't watched my previous volume profile strategies, please watch them and then come back to this video, because I'm not going to go over what is failed auction or what is volume profile. They're all on my YouTube for absolutely free. So we're going to have, a failed auction setup, price goes above the value area high, then we push down, price goes below the value area low, and then we push up. Now, why does that happen? The big institutions, when we are in a gamma condition positive, they are forced to sell when the price is going up, and they're forced to buy when the price is going down. They're basically hedging, right? So they got to protect their positions. Now, what happens when the gamma condition is negative? That means we're going to have a trending volatile market. So what does that mean is the institutions, the big players, the market makers, what they're going to do is they're going to buy when the price is going up, right? And they're going to sell when the price is going down, okay? So basically, these type of conditions, when we are in a negative condition, these are best for breakout type of days, right? So we're going to use our gamma GX levels as our breakout zone. So for example, if we have a GX level over here, right, we want to wait for price to break above that. Then we're going to use our key level down here, and we can take an entry out the retest, and bam, right? We're going to target the other level. So for now, the very first step, we need to know what happens when we are in a positive gamma regime and when we are in a negative gamma regime, right? If we are in positive, again, we're going to expect failed auction setups. And if we are in a negative gamma condition, we're going to expect breakouts, volatile market conditions. Now, if you look at it here, it's giving me key levels. So you don't want to focus on the call resistance, put support. You want to only focus on call resistance 0 DTE and put support 0 DTE, because we are intraday traders and we are trading on the same day. We're not swing traders. These levels are what actually matters. So these three levels first: call resistance 0 DTE, put support 0 DTE, and high volume level. These are the most important levels. So since I have this indicator integrated into my trading view, I'm going to turn on this indicator. right? And it is going to automatically plot out the levels. Okay, cool. So what I have is, if you look at it here, the call resistance 30500, it's down here. As you can see, call resistance 30500, right? But then we also have the GEX levels. So if you go into the indicator here, right, and you go down all the way here, you want to turn off the call resistance, put support, HVL, and then you want to turn on the 1-day minimum, 1-day max, all these, right? So we have the gamma vol, GEX levels until 5. Now these are your key levels, okay? Now call resistance is basically the strongest level. So if we are in a positive regime, think of it as a resistance level. When price approaches this level, there's a very high chance that they are going to sell off from this level because it is a call resistance. And when we have a put support level in a positive gamma regime, there's a very high chance that price will go down here and start consolidating, or it's going to reverse back heavily because they are forced to buy when the price is going down. These are your strongest levels, okay? But it doesn't mean that you should only use these levels. Now, we have the HVL level, which is a high volume level. So if I go here, we have HVL 0 DTE. Now, what is a high volume node, right? What is a high volume level? So this is, let's say this is a HVL, right? Oh, I promise you guys by the end of this video, you're going to have a complete strategy and you will understand everything. Please don't skip this video. So when we have HVL and price is above the HVL on the very intraday basis, like very intraday fast market base or whatever you want to call it, we're going to have a positive regime, right? Because we're above the HVL. So when we have a positive regime on intraday basis, so first of all, we have the end of day basis, which is the bigger context, but then we have HVL drawn out here, 0 DTE, and it's going to give you a very fast picture, like real time, right? So when we are above the HVL, we're going to see price consolidating or being in a balanced market condition. Why? Because we're above the HVL, and when a price is above the HVL, we are in a positive gamma condition for that very like small window. Now, when we're above this, you can still try failed auction setups, right? So you can still try to fade the edges. When we go below the HVL level, we're going to be shifting into a negative regime of gamma exposure on a very small window, right? So when we are here, and let's say we have our target down there, right? We can use our confirmation entries to take our entry at the retest or on the pullbacks, and we can play it using order flow towards the downside. And we're going to have volatile price movement, right? So let me give you an example here. So we have the end of the day levels, which were drawn out, and I actually took a very awesome trade on this day, and we had a bank holiday this day. So if you look at it here, HVL, right? The high volume level, we are above the HVL. And notice what's happening. We are just consolidating, okay? So it's giving you a picture what's going to happen. And then, again, we have these levels. So these levels are, you can consider them as like your key levels. When price approaches these levels, right, with order flow and volume profile of the overnight session, we can take very high probability trades. For example, look at this, how price reacted to this level here, right? Multiple times. So I took a trade here. I'm going to show you later on in the examples. But for now, that's HVL. Now, if we have call resistance below the price, that resistance is not always going to be above the price, okay? So when we have both the call resistance and put support below the price, it means that we are in a very sharp uptrend, okay? So it's going to either reach out to the 1-day max level. So let's talk about the 1-day max level. What exactly is it? So 1-day max is where this is like the highest point price can go towards. It will not go any higher than that. In some cases, yes, it can. You never know what the market's going to do. But with proper context, you will know that this is the highest point. If price goes there, we're going to reverse down. Okay, like with 80% accuracy. So that is positive gamma regime, right? It is shown here on 18th, right? It was shown that we are going to be in a positive gamma regime. So on Friday 19th, we were expecting that we're going to stay in the positive regime. And that's exactly what happened. We started consolidating. Now, if the gamma condition was negative, what we would do is we would wait for breakouts. So if we break above the GEX3 level, we would wait for a retest, look for order flow confirmation here, and then we can target the GX4 level, right? And then we can wait for another break like this, and then we can look for another push to the upside, something like that. But when we approach a resistance level, so the call resistance during the negative regime, we can look for extra powerful breakouts. So in a negative regime, we're going to have very strong breakouts above the call resistance, right? And also the same goes for put support during the negative regime. If we break below the put support, we're going to get a retest or break out like aggressively towards the 1-day minimum. So 1-day minimum is the level where price can go the most to the downside, right? So it is like a stop zone, right, where price will stop. It's either going to start consolidating, right, or it's going to reverse back up. So we have these levels, right? Call resistance, support level. So now let's talk about the bias, right? We are done with it. If the gamma regime is positive, you're going to have a choppy market. If the gamma regime is negative, you're going to have a trending market, right? And then we have the gamma GX levels. So all these levels, right, they are here. Call resistance, put support, 1-day max, right? And you can also see that in the net GX, we have the top 3 GX strikes. So it's going to be GX1, GX2, GX3, right? So you can see 31,000 and GX1 31,000. Now, GEX1 level is the strongest. GX2 is also strong. GX3 is weaker than GX2 and GX1, but it is still strong. However, GX4 and GX5 levels are a little weak, I would say, but they still act as key levels, okay? So again, guys, it's really simple, right? You just plot out these levels, right? You have the put support, call resistance, 1-day max, 1-day minimum right over here. And you have the HVL level. And pretty much that's what you need, 30490, right? That's what you need on your charts before taking the trade, right? And then comes the real important part of the strategy, which is the volume profile, right? So once we have our levels on the chart, right, like this, what we want to do is use our overnight volume profile. Okay, so let's just go here, and this is 19th, right? So we're going to start plotting our volume profile from 18 till 9:30. Okay, perfect. Now, notice we had GEX3 level right above the value area high. So here's the strategy, okay? When we are in a positive regime, we know we're going to get failed auction setups. Price is going to go above the value area high, and it's going to go down. Price is going to go below the value area low, and it's going to go up. Now, we need GX levels above the value area high and some GX levels below the value area low. So what happens when a resistance is broken? It turns into support, right? So this level over here can also act as a support level. So positive gamma regime, we have the overnight volume profile, and notice here what happened. We first went above the value area high. So a lot of people would take this failed auction setup to the downside, but it failed. Why? Because we had GX3 level right here. This is your key level. This is how the options move, guys. This is how the big markets are hedging, right? In a positive regime. If price goes up, they're gonna be forced to sell to hedge to the downside to protect their positions, right? So when price approaches this level, we can start looking for our final step, which is what? The order flow for entry confirmation, right? So let's just drop down to 1 minute time frame, and we're gonna look for our confirmations on the 1 minute. So step number 1, guys, what do we want? We need the price to be above the value area high if you are looking for shorts in a positive gamma regime. So value area high, price is above value area high, and then we need a GX or a gamma level above the value area high. So GX level above the value area high, right? And then finally, we need our order flow confirmation. So when price approaches this level, what we need to see, guys, is absorption of buyers. So a lot of buyers stepping in, but getting no follow through, right? So, and then when we see a lot of buyers stepping in, but no follow through, and then we see aggressive sellers on the order flow stepping in, aggressive delta, right? And they are getting a follow through. You can take your entries at the retest of these aggressive orders or at the retest of GEX3 level. So you can take, you could have taken multiple entries, right? And we're only going to take trades when we're above or below the value area high or the value area low of the overnight volume profile. Okay, you cannot be like, okay, we have a level here, so let's sell from here. We need context, and we get that context with a volume profile. We need to be above the value area high, and we also need to be tapping into one of these levels. So we have GX3, we tap here, we tap here, we tap here, and then we reverse, right? So later on in the video, I'm going to show you how to approach this and how to look for absorption and how to actually take trades, right? So very simple stuff, guys. It's really simple. Okay, now let's talk about the intraday gamma regime or gamma levels quickly. However, I use both of them, but this right here are the end of day gamma levels. So these are the levels from Thursday. All right, so Thursday was in a positive regime, so on Friday we're gonna stay in the positive regime. However, if you want to know the exact regime that is on the same day, which is Friday, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the intraday here in the indices and stocks here, right? And then you want to go here to QQQ, okay? And then you can look at exactly what's happening on that day, right? And what you can also do is go here to the indicators. If you have integrated it with TradingView, you're going to go here into your invite only indicators, and you're going to have the mentor Q levels intraday. Okay, so let's disable the EOD level here, and let's turn on the intraday levels. So what we're going to do here, once we have the indicator, we're going to go here. So this is conversion. So we're going to go here and type in QQQ, and then we're going to convert these levels to NQ. So we're going to convert QQQ levels to NQ levels. Okay, so we check this up, and then we only click on show converted levels only, and then we disable all these and keep only these levels on. Okay, and pretty much it's going to give you the real, like, very fast picture of what can happen, right? And sometimes I'm going to say use it with discretion, right? I like to stay with the end of day levels because they are strong. But if you have end of day levels way far above the value area high, you can use the intraday level. So for example, we have 1 day minimum over here, right? If price went above to us this level, we would have reversed down in a positive regime. So that's that. But I would highly suggest that you just stick to end of day levels, right? And let the price tell you what's going to do. And these levels, right? These levels are very strong. That's from where the big institutions are looking to hedge to the downside in a positive gamma regime, guys. And of course, we need to have overnight volume profile, because when we are above the value area high, we are considered to be in a premium. Think of it like that in easy words. And when we are below the value area low, think of it as a discount, right? So that's that. And now I hope you guys know, I don't want to give you like huge ass definitions of what these levels are, because they don't matter. We need in trading, we need to simplify everything. We need key levels. These are all levels, and that's what we need. We don't need to go deep down into the definitions on how it works, what exactly is gamma exposure, how they hedge, what are options flow. Bullshit. It's time waste. Okay, you need these levels. You have them on your chart. All you need to know is we are in a positive or a negative gamma regime. So now let me give you some examples on how you would look to take trades during the positive gamma regime and how you would look to take trades during negative gamma regime. So let's move on to the examples. And if you didn't understand anything about this, please rewatch this video and then watch the examples. Okay, so let's move on to the examples now. All right, guys, so here is example number 1. And as you can see in this screenshot, I took this trade exactly from this level with order flow confirmation. And I'm going to go over how you would take this trade. So I have the deep charts platform over here. I highly suggest that you get this platform, because honestly, it is the best user-friendly software for order flow. I'm not affiliated with them, right? I'm just saying it for the sake of you, right? It is probably the best order flow indicator software out there. So we had the value area high, value area low, point of control of the overnight volume profile, and we had GX3 level at 30700. So I have drawn out the GX 30700 level over here. So notice what happened here. And we also have the deep trades indicator, which is big trades. So all these are aggressive aggregated trades or orders. So these are my settings. I have the filter set at 25, and then I have the circle, show text, minimum opacity 10, 40 maximum, and then we have the minimum size to 5 and maximum size to 40. So I want to see big absorption at this level. So you can see we had small bubbles, but once we tap into this level, we had big aggressive green bubbles. So a lot of buyers trying to push above this level, but since we are in a positive regime, we're gonna the institutions, the market makers are gonna be forced to hedge to the downside. They're gonna sell when the price is going up. So a lot of buyers getting trapped, and then we have a sell, right, to the downside. Now I didn't take a trade here, so I waited for another retest, which was around, I believe here. I think it was around here. So what happened is that when we came back to retest this level, I saw price rejecting off heavily. And when I saw the first big trade pop in, I took my trade for 121.5. Since it was a bank holiday, I was not expecting a big move, and we were just consolidating overall, right? So if you stayed patient and you took this trade, you would be amazed by the precision. Now I'm going to also drop in a daily bias technique. So even though it is good to know that we're in a positive or gamma or a negative gamma regime, I'm going to show you how to actually find your daily bias so you have proper context. And also I'm going to give you some other key levels as well with order flow that you can use to take these high probability trades. Okay, so this was example one. Now I'm going to show you how to find your daily bias with it, and also I'm going to give you some examples for the negative gamma regime and one more for positive gamma regime. Okay, so keep watching. So this may look like, as you're looking at aeroplane's cockpit, what exactly is this? Now these are volume profiles of cash sessions of each day. So this is, let's say it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What is cash session? It is a volume profile from 9:30 till 16 New York time. It is a New York session where the most amount of volume is transacted. And with the development of this, right, we can know our bias, what's going to happen on that specific day. Now, even though I took a short position on that day because we had a bank holiday and we had a positive gamma regime, this will give you idea and key levels as to where the market can go for the next day, right? So when we have the value going up, so look at the point of, this is point of control, right? So we had point of control over here. And then on the next day, we had point of control higher than this day. So our bias for this day is going to be bullish. And then look at this. On this day, the point of control and the entire value is below the value of this day. So our bias for this day is going to be bearish, right? So now look at this. We have point of control slightly above it, very slightly above it. And if you look at this gray shaded area, that is a rejection. We didn't accept value here. And if you look at it here, we reacted from this point of control level, right? From this day over here, and we pushed back up, and we have a P-shaped volume profile. So if you have watched my videos, you would know that this is a bullish profile. So on this day, what happened? We went above and we closed bullish, right? Now we have point of control higher than this, and this. So what's going to be the bias for this day? Even though I took a short position, the bias for this day would be bullish. Now, how would you take your entries? So when you're on this day, this is the trading day, right? And you know that we are bullish. Why? Because this is the point of control. This is the point of control of yesterday's, right? So we're expecting that price will stay bullish until we hit either the value area high of the previous day, cash session, right? Or we hit this point of control. So where would you take your entries from? the previous day's value area low is the strongest level if your bias is bullish. So you would draw this level as your key level, right? And by the way, to get this chart, what you want to do is you want to go here. When you open deep charts, you want to go here, price chart, CME, look at NQ. Then you want to right click, go to templates, load, go to shared, go to full version, Fabio, NQ, and ETH profile. When you click on this, it's going to open the cash session profile, right? So although you don't really need this, but it gives you bias, it gives you also some significant key levels from where you can take your entries using order flow confirmation. So let's just go here and turn on these levels. So if you want to show those levels that we have drawn out here, the green line and the red line, you go into this chart over here. Let's delete this and go here, right click, draw a tool from other chart and click on NQ. Now what do we have? We have the green level marked out here, which is the value area low of this day. So notice what happened. Yesterday we closed above the point of control, right? And we respected the point of control of this. So on this day, which is the current day, our bias is going to be bullish, right? So notice what happened here. We tapped into this level here, this green level here. It is so precise, guys. And look what happened with order flow. These purple bubbles are sellers, aggressive sell orders, right? There are a lot of sells here, 43, 57, 47 contracts, but they failed to push through this level. That is them sellers hitting the wall, but not getting a follow through. And then we get some aggressive buyers stepping in here, as you can see, right? So you would mark out this entire level like this, and then you would take your entry at the retest as your order flow entry. Okay. And pretty much you can see how price went up. Now, if your bias is bearish, for example, let's just go here. Okay. Let's just go here. So let's just remove everything here. So we're going to remove all the lines. So notice what happened, right? We have the point of control of this day here. And then we have a point of control down there. Now let's just disable the composite volume profile. So we have point of control here. So we build value lower. So look at these 2 days here. These 2 days, right? We went lower. The point of control is lower than this. So, and then on the next day, we stayed within the balance. So we stayed within the value area high and value area low. So what we can do is we can merge them. We can merge them, right? So right click on this, go here and click on merge plus. And it's going to merge both of the volumes profiles, right? Why? Because we were consolidating here, so we need more data. Now, since we are bearish, what do we have here? We have the value area high, right? So when we have a bearish bias, we're going to use the value area high of the previous day as our very strong key level. And from here, you can look for order flow confirmation, and then you can look to take your trades. You can also use the point of control, okay? But the highest probability setups are going to come from the value area high, right? So let's just go here. So on what happened on this day, even though we tapped here and then we pushed down, we have point of control higher than this. As you can see, we have point of control higher than this. So we have value area low. So price goes down below this level, taps into this high volume node, and then pushes up, right? Now what happens? This is a choppy consolidation day. So what we can do is merge them, right? And what happens? Now we have what? Another bearish day potentially. So what we can do, since this is the point of control, this is the point of control, these 2 days are lower, right? So on this day, what can we expect? We're going to expect reversal from the value area high or the point of control, which is right here. So these are your two key levels, right? And let me show you some more examples, right? So notice what happened here. We have a resistance zone from where price already rejected below. So when price approaches this level, right, we can see that on the next day, we had a sharp rejection to the downside. So we had a point of control here, bam. And then we have, since the point of control is lower than this, we have another point of control here. And from where did the price react from? The point of control to the downside. So this is how you can frame your bias, okay? So now let me give you guys some examples for the GEX levels in a positive or gamma negative regime, right? Let's go. All right, guys, so here is an example for positive gamma condition. And since it's in the past, the indicator itself will not be able to draw out the levels because it only draws the levels for the current day. So since it's in the past, I took a screenshot here. And if you look at the end of day gamma condition for NQ on the futures tab, it is positive. So you're going to have what? Consolidation, you know, they're going to sell when price goes up. They're going to buy when price goes down, right? So what I did is when I looked at these levels, they were far up here, right? They were away from the price. So what I did, I used the intraday levels for QQQ and the indicator automatically converted them. So what you would just do is just open the intraday indicator, right? Even though it's not going to show the levels for this day right now, but all you got to do is go to level 2 here do it like QQQ and then convert it to NQ and then have these settings as I said earlier, right? Oh, I think it's showing the levels. I think, guys, it's showing the levels. 30423.40. I don't think it is. It's still like, no. These are not the levels. So you don't want to look at this, okay? It's printing out the levels. I've taken the screenshot. These were the actual levels at that time, okay? And then you just want to disable like this, right? And you want to disable most of these levels here. You can keep the 4 and 5 also, but I just suggest that you stick to this. So this is how you would like convert the QQQ levels to NQ. So at that time on this day, we had these levels with the intraday indicator, the QQQ levels converted. So we had GEX one level above the value area high, or almost at the value area high, okay? At 30527.23. So we have the overnight volume profile drawn out as well from 18 till 9:30, right? And if I go here, look at this price, right? This is where you will look to take your entry from. Or we also have HVL level here as well, right? But if we go here, which is around here, yeah. So we have HVL down there at the 30402.75. So around here, this is the level, okay? This is where. So notice what happened. Price tapped into this level and we got a rejection. We had aggressive sellers stepping in, but when we tap into this level, we see aggressive buyers stepping in this candle, okay? This is your sign. Since we're in a positive gamma regime, we are below the overnight sessions value area low, and we see aggressive buyers stepping in. This would have been your long position. Stops right below here, and you could have targeted the value area high. Now notice what happened here. We have what? GX1 level at the value area high of the overnight session at 30527.23. 30527. Around here, right? Around here. So notice what happened. We went and tapped into the GX1 level over here, which was the QQQ level converted to NQ, okay? And notice what happened. We have aggressive buyers here, 44, 98, but failing to break above the value area high and also the GX1 level of the intraday QQQ. That is buyers getting absorbed. And then we have 110 sellers within the body. So these digits are within the body, not the wick. So they are getting a follow through, right? 110 is within the body and the bubble size is very big. Aggressive sells, right? So what do? We take a short position here, right? We put our stops right above here and we can target what? 1 to 2 restore what? Simple as that. Now notice what happened again here as well. Okay, so we had GX4 level at 30361 and GX3 level at 30320. 30320. Let's do that. 320. Just around here. Okay, So notice what happened here, guys. We tapped literally inside that level, which is GX3 level. Okay, so GX3 is stronger than GX4, right? So what happens? We see a lot of these cells stepping in, but no follow through, failing to break below this. And then we have a bunch of aggressive buyers in this candle. And once we get a close above all these aggressive participants, right, this could have been another long position. So you're going to take another long here, target the value area high. And where did we go again? Value area high, since we're in a positive regime, what happens? Aggressive buyers, right? And what happens here? We have aggressive participants right around here. So these aggressive bubbles. So when price closed below it, that would have been your trade. What happens here again? We went and tapped into what? GX3 level once again. Aggressive sellers here failing to break through this level, 53. And look at that. Isn't that amazing? So when price closed above it, you would take your retest entry here and pretty much target again this. I mean, look at this over here, guys. Like we kept going up and down on this day. Okay. And then finally we had a breakout here. So notice this breakout. So we have the GX3 level here and we had aggressive break to the downside. Another continuation. So price kept pushing down. And where did it go? There probably was a support level down there. So we approach the GX1 level once again. And by the time the volume profile would have been developing like this, right? So that is now a developing volume profile. You can use that as well once during PM session, okay? Again, when price taps into the value area high, aggressive buys, and then they are getting absorbed, and then we see aggressive sells stepping in. And bam, just like that, another trade. So let me give you guys the negative gamma exposure trade example, and then I'll end the video. All right, guys, so here's the last example in a negative gamma condition, which means it's going to be a volatile market, right? We're going to have either a very strong push to the downside or to the upside. It's not going to be choppy as the positive regime, right? My favorite conditions are positive because, you know, I can just take mean reversion trades from value area high towards the value area low. But since we had a negative condition on this day, you can see that the indicator is not going to plot these levels because it only plots at the moment from the current day, right? Or the previous day, max. But since we have a negative condition, right? First of all, let's establish a bias. So if we look at the two previous days, so this is our trading day. This day and this day, I've drawn out the volume profile from 9:30 till 16 to know where are we going. So we have point of control here on this day, and then we had point of control lower from this day. So our bias for this day is going to be bearish, right? So what we had here was GX1 level. So we have the overnight volume profile, very nice. And then we have GX1 level here. So these top net GX strikes are GX1, GX2, GX3. Okay, that's what I can retrieve from the past data. Otherwise, the indicator would plot these levels here. So GX1 is 29250, right? And it's exactly at around here. So knowing that our bias is bearish, right? What you would do is as soon as price tapped into this level here, you would look for absorption of buyers, right? So let's just go here. You would wait for absorption here and look at how clean the price action is. Why? Because we're in a negative gamma regime and we're going to have volatile moves either to the one side or to the upside. It's not going to be a balanced price action, right? So in these type of market conditions, guys, you can also take like opening range breakout setups with very high conviction and probability. So this is the 5-minute opening range and the breakout happens, right? So what happens here? After the open, we go above the value area high and we tap into the GX1 level, okay, which is a key level. And then here we look for absorption of buyers and aggressive sellers coming in, and then we would take our trade. Simple. Because why? Because our bias is bearish. So bias is important when we are in a negative regime because price is going to go in one direction, volatility with a lot of volatility, right? Damn, I can't speak. So when we have positive regime, we don't really need bias. We can just fade the edges of the overnight session with GX1 level. So since we had a bearish bias here, you would potentially take your entry here, right? And then you can target the value area low, right? And pretty much we build a new balance below the value area low, and then we have another breakout to the downside. So since it's a breakout type of condition, we have the negative regime of the gamma. You can see this is the value area low. And if you have watched my previous volume profile videos, once we start consolidating below the value area low, we need a breakout to the downside with high volume. And this around here, you could say was a good breakout, right? With order flow confirmation, or we went back up again to retest the value area low. This could have been where you look for order flow confirmation and take your trades to the downside. And that's going to be it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to upload more videos on the strategy. Okay. If you didn't understand anything, I'm going to keep on making videos on this. And also you can use ICT with it as well. So for example, if we tap into GX1 level, you could have looked for a market structure shift, right? You don't need order flow if you use ICT, but order flow gives you better entries and much better like confirmation. But we had CISD over here as well, you know, and pretty much we had a breaker block entry here as well. So use everything like they're Avengers, right? And pretty much you can see that price just pushes down, and then we have one more breaker here, which is a very big breaker. So we can just pretty much use the half part of it. And then once we broke this low, we retested this level and then we pushed down. So that's going to be it. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to get access to Mentor Q platform, the link is down in the description. You will get a huge discount if you use the code FAZ and use the link that is down in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.